Guys, did you know that a 10 million investment could actually unlock 70 million worth of opportunity in the continent of Africa in terms of climate focused startup? Could you imagine all the possibility that you could get with that, right? The many startup looking at me right now thinking, Tony, I like to get that kind of money. But here is the real question, guys. Can the African innovative startup that we see rise to the challenge to seize transformative opportunity and seize that opportunity to tap into 70 million and to create $1 billion? That's what I want to dive into. I want to talk about startups in Africa, the landscape a little bit, because there has been, at the end of last year, a very interesting investment that was made by the AfDB, the African Development Bank. And I'm sure most of you would have missed it. So let me talk to you about that so you get a better understanding. All right? Hello, guys. How are you doing? My name is Tony T. I'm the founder and CEO of Renewable in Africa. So what we do is we raise awareness about renewables energy, but also sustainability. And if you're interested to break into Africa and to expand to this beautiful continent, we are your eco bridge to this market. And we can help you with visibility, with leads, but also deals, right? That's what we can do. Or if you're looking to decarbonize, again, we are your eco bridge to sustainable pathway. And we can help you with your carbon footprint assessment, carbon reduction strategy, any carbon related tasks that you want to do, just reach out to us. I'm happy to sit down, show you what we've done for other people, and see how you can actually enjoy the good conversation, good collaboration with us, right? Excellent. So reach out to me and book a meeting with me. Now, it's always good to set up a little bit of context, right? So I talked to you about the fact that, I want to talk to startups today, especially address some of the challenges that they're seeing, but clearly talking about one opportunity that happened at the African Development Bank. And I know many of you would have missed it. So what am I talking about here? In December 2024, so not long ago, right? Just a few weeks down the line, right? So the AfDB, African Development Bank, they announced that they were making a $10 million investment into a very interesting company, which is called Persistent. Have you heard about Persistent? So if not, so Persistent is Africa Climate Venture Builder Funds, yeah? And it's not just a fund like anything else, right? It's not just another financial initiative. Because by this day, I know you guys will have seen lots of initiatives going to Africa. Sometimes you wonder, and I'm the first, right? You wonder, does it really make sense? Can I just work together? But this fund, it's particularly interesting, I must admit, right? So it could be a catalyst for a lot more company to come later on, and it could be a game changer because it is designed to address critical, financing gap, and it's also designed to accelerate early stage climate focused startups in renewables energy, in electric mobility, and also circular economy. So, and I know I've met a lot of people recently on the electric mobility side. Have you heard about this guy? Persistent, Africa Climate Venture Builder Fund. Have you heard of them? If you've not heard of them, you maybe want to obviously get close to them. But here is the kicker from it. Would this investment, unlock the additional $70 million that actually has been promised to them? Because that $70 million, that can actually fuel the innovations and lead to more startup in sustainable development across Africa. That's what you want to see. Yeah. So why does it matter? But before talking about why does it matter, let me share with you some statistic that I've just read from a website that AP, the Associated Press. Let me just share with you. I can share my screen. And that's I've come across some very interesting stats. Sometimes I like to share with you stats that I've seen. I believe they're interesting. And this is this one that I wanted to share, right? So you could see. So essentially what we see here is, so climate tech startup, they make up about a third of the funding that we've seen in Africa. Can you see this graph? So this graph, let me explain very quickly. In blue, what you see there is the amount raised by obviously all startup, and in green at the bottom, you see this is the one for clean startup, and you can see in 2023 here. So we're talking about we're talking about over $1 billion, So that was in 2023, so not no long ago. And you could see that it has been progressing. Definitely the amount invested into company altogether has been declining. Unfortunately, let's say because we like to see a lot more because we need a lot more money in the continent. But definitely, clean startup, it's definitely been raising. Another thing that I found interesting. So you can read this article, by the way. So you'll get more information. Is actually when we talk about clean tech startups. So what sector exactly is the money going to? And this graph is showing the funding that happened between 2019 and 2023. And you can see that this clearly sector that dominates the market. You have energy and water, takes 75% of the funding, yeah, that you want to see that. And you have agriculture as well. It goes to that's 600, almost 640 million. And more than 2.3 billion, that was energy and water, right? And I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised me saying that, hey, that's why we talk about something about the nexus, right? Energy, water, and food nexus. So you could see that is also in here. So it gives you an idea as to where is the money actually going into. So when you looking to kick off a startup, so if you are working on a startup, so climate tech startup, you know where you kind of need to focus there. You can see where the money seems to be going. So it may give you a little bit of an idea. But I was asking the question, why is, for me, this investment matter? So investing into a climate climate tech venture, yeah, in Africa. So climate venture builder fund. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. Why is it important? For me, it's a big deal because startups in Africa, they face enormous hurdles, lack of funding, high risk, limited data for investors to evaluate. But with this fund, you know, AfDB for me is clearly taking the lead, to tackle these barriers head on. That's what I could say. And what makes this investment even more impactful is the fact that it also prioritizes women-led and women-managed businesses. I know sometimes they struggle, but they have brilliant idea, but they don't get as much attention as they deserve, when you compare to other men. And this focus for me will empower the young women entrepreneur to bring their innovation to life, and drive sustainable growth across the continent. And it's not just about the money; it's about building, for me, a thriving, inclusive ecosystem where we clearly could see everybody taking part of it. Yeah. So that is actually what it is all about. And what could be the effect? Would you say? Yeah. So the effect, we can talk about ripple effects in here, in this ecosystem, because it could be immense. That will create jobs, that will expand energy access, and that will drive Africa toward a green economy. And you have startups like Greenbox in the GRC, Maya Energy in Morocco, or BioAni in Cote d'Ivoire. They could benefit from similar kind of opportunity where they will scale their solution. Because like I say, it's all about, for me, always have solutions that are scalable in order to transform the life, of people in the process. But here is a catch. You want all those startups to prove their value, to attract and utilize this funding properly. And that's where effective valuation, and financial strategies become critical. And not all startups actually properly understand it. So can Africa really unlock, for me, those 70 million uh, opportunity in Africa climate startup? Absolutely. But it starts with understanding how to position themselves for success. Those startups, that's what I'm talking about. Because if you're a startup founder, you know, investor, or simply passionate about driving sustainable innovation, I want to call on you to say, hey guys, we are actually organizing with um, some good partners, numerous, much more specifically, a webinar where we're going to be telling you about how to value startups. What are the challenges and the best practice in valuing climate-focused startups? That's the question I could ask you. Don't miss this webinar, because session, what we're going to do, we'll explore how to overcome valuation challenges, assess early stage companies, and also attract investment in today's very dynamic market. Yeah. So that's not another thing. So I'd like you to come and join us so that we can look at the green economy together. Because like I say, startup, that's where it happened. Because if you want to talk about the unicorn of tomorrow, you got to be able to allow those startups to, first of all, to happen, right? To develop and to give them the means and money. It's central as part of it. So that's what I want. So don't miss that webinar, right? And also, as you grow a startup, how do you value yourself when you bring new investors? How do you make sure that they understand what you've created, what you're worth, and give you the right kind of money, and you without feeling exploited? Yeah, that's what we're gonna want to tap into. Yeah, so because that's exactly the sense of the kind of conversation we're having just right now. So they received 10 million, so persistent, but there's another 70 million. So how do you go and unlock it for the right value? That's what we're saying here. So we want to address that at that webinar. So definitely join us, and that would be great. So that's a short call I wanted to do today. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to share, subscribe for more insight about the Africa renewable energy and startup ecosystem. So I'll see you at the webinar. I'm going to drop the link down below, but let me know what you think about that. Yeah, excellent. I'll see you at the webinar, guys.